All right, welcome to another episode of Dollar Dorks. This is episode 4, and this podcast is to share video games buy and selling tips, give suggestions of games to watch for, provide tips on how to fund your collection with your collection, and hopefully change the perception some people have of sellers in the video game collecting community. And today we have two guests, Joe from STCPod. Joe.
Hello.
And we have NJRetro of NJRetro.
How's it going?
You
can call me Jason.
All right, that's what I was going to ask. And congratulations on the baby.
Thank you. I appreciate it greatly.
And I am Derek of Two Dorks. If you've been here before, you know that. So we start off with your latest pickups or deals. Anything noteworthy, anything you're planning on selling, anything of interest. I've just ordered it. We rotate through the people each time. So starting off with Jason this time.
Yeah, actually, this past couple weeks have been a little crazy for me. We had too many games in Philadelphia, which is, I guess at this point, considered the largest retro show on the East Coast. Like Portland is the largest on the West Coast. It sees about 10,000 people every year. And this is one show I don't vend at because it is worth just attending because I find deals every year. So this is actually going to be a exclusive to Dollar Dorks as my pickups from the con, because I haven't been in the Hangouts in like 2 to 3 weeks, so haven't been able to show anything off. And then I had kind of a crazy GameStop deal as well, which I'm sure some of you guys actually know about already. But I'll get into my my pickups real quick from TMG. So I ran into Duke from Retro Nonsense, his family, and Yoshi Knuckles at the show, which was cool because that was the entire East Coast chapter of the Cartridge Club. But something I picked up from Yoshi through trades, we did a trade for a bunch of games and a little bit of cash, was a modded Game Gear. Now this Game Gear, for those in audio land, is equipped with composite, S-Video, and RGB, as well as a controller port to run a 3-button Genesis controller. It's just a straight-up consoleized version. The screen's been unchanged. I won't be playing off the screen, but it does still work. And he gave me an audio breakout cable for it, too. So I can finally play some Game Gear games at home.
Nice.
I picked up an art print for Earthbound, which I always love picking up stuff from Artist Alley. Those people do some amazing work, and you just try to highlight and help out local artists as well as getting some cool stuff for the game room. This was a guy doing 3D dioramas. Hopefully I don't get too much glare on it, if you can see it. And it's a 3D diorama of the final boss fight from Secret of Mana.
Yeah, so I've seen John Riggs talking about those 3D dioramas. He was getting some out of the UK. It's
beautiful, and it was pretty inexpensive, and the guy was even willing to do trades for NES games. And then I picked up some, as far as games are concerned, I found a loose, and I dropped it here, a Hue card for Sidearms on the TurboGrafx 16. That was for $15. Since I picked up the console mod Game Gear from Yoshi, I picked up Bonkers on the Game Gear. I picked up Shinobi 2, and I picked up Castle of Illusion. And these were $5 a piece because nobody cares about Game Gear games. They're dirt cheap because you can't play them. The Game Chasers were there, and I didn't have their Season 3 DVD pack, so I grabbed that. Billy from the Game Chasers wasn't there, but Jay was, and he's always a cool dude to talk to. Really down to earth. And I grabbed a sealed copy of Dragon Spirit on the TurboGrafx. This was $30, which is a ridiculous deal. The guy said he's had it for like 3 shows and just wanted to get rid of it. And then the crew from Limited Run Games actually had a booth set up, which I was surprised to see them here on the East Coast. And they had some of the titles that didn't sell as well, I guess. And I missed out on some Vita titles. So I
remember you saying you're missing out on a couple.
Yeah, I grabbed Nova 111 and the 2 Mutant Muds games.
That doesn't complete you though, right? Like you're not.
I still need Breach and Clear. And I'm missing, I think, Futuridium and Zeodrifter.
That's not bad though. So you got 3 out of the 6 you needed, probably.
Yeah, pretty much. And they were cheaper too. They were 20. I think they were 25 with no tax and no shipping charge, and it also came with the postcards like they usually do.
Nice. See, I thought they usually ran out of those things. You know what I mean? The extra stuff.
You know what? It's weird because if you go online, they say that those sold out. Obviously,
yeah, exactly.
And
Maybe one of them was selling their personal copies or something like that. You know what I mean?
They had Derek. They had a ton. There was at least I think it was 11 titles there, and they had probably 20 to 30 of each title. And then that was pretty much it for TMG. I didn't spend as much money this year. I actually made money, which we'll get to in the second bit. But the other big thing that I picked up on this weekend, it was this week, was if anybody knew, well, you guys are in Canada, so EB Games probably didn't have the same promotion GameStop did.
Not usually.
They ran quite a weird scenario. It was buy 2, get 1 on all pre-owned, and that ran for the 1st through the 4th of July. And at the same time, which this runs until the 9th, they offered, if you traded in 2 games, you got 30% extra credit. If you traded in 4 games, you got 50%. And if you traded in 6 games, you got 70% extra trade credit.
All right.
6 plus. So I brought in a shopping bag, like a ShopRite shopping bag of loose disc and junk cart retro stuff. And I made $500 in one deal.
I was just listening to a podcast where they were saying something about some crazy deals that people were like going to Walmart, buying stuff and bringing it to GameStop and getting amazing deals.
So what happened was I missed out on this. I didn't catch on to this till the last day of the sale, and they had already changed the prices to get around that.
Okay, yeah.
But essentially, you could go into any store, including their own, and buy Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2 on both new systems. Amazing Spider-Man 2. And it was like 2 other games like that. And you paid $20 brand new at Walmart or Target or Best Buy, and it was trading in for $46.
That's kind of like what Miles's deal he did a while ago there with the Disney Infinities that they must have screwed up the price on or shouldn't have been on the list at all or something.
So there's guys in Jersey close to me that ended up with some $1,500 in single transactions.
Jesus.
Flipping stuff. And they were also with the buy 2 get 1. They were buying Mario and Pokemon games right off the shelf of GameStop and trading them right back in at the counter.
Oh my God.
Because they were buying.
I can't blame them at all. I'd do the same thing. I mean, as long as I had the time to do it, I'd do it because they screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you think that the next time they do a deal like this, they're going to find some way to circumvent it so that it won't happen again like that?
No. They don't look at it as they were dumb enough to run 2 deals at the same time, which is part of the problem. But the 70% extra trade credit is just absurd to the point that regular games like Bloodborne for the PS4 was trading in for more than they sold it for. So you could have picked up almost any title off the shelf that was a AAA title, and it was trading in for more than they were selling it for. Because they didn't think it through. They didn't lower their prices for trade to accommodate for the sale. It was hilarious. So I ended up, when all said and done, because I went back in for another $80 in credit, it was like almost $600 in credit. And for my pickups, I grabbed, this was buy 2, get 1 free, Super Princess Peach on the DS, which I have a case for. I just got to find it.
Yeah, you always have cases for DS games.
Yeah. The hard to find Dragon Quest 6. These were, I think it ended up being like $15 a piece for those. And I got Dying Light the following, because I've been wanting to play this. Geometry Wars on PS4. And then I picked up all of the new amiibos that I could find. There was the Wolf Link, the Twilight Princess, Zelda for Breath of the Wild.
Oh, Dean needs that one.
And yeah, it was GameStop's, well, EB's have them right now. Archer and Rider Link. And then they actually had a Guardian too.
Oh, Dean needed that one too, but Duke just picked it up for him today.
And then aside from that, the last two pickups that I had recently were this I found at a local store, and it was priced under what it goes for right now, is Horizon Zero Dawn.
Okay.
For $35. And I ordered Hyperlight Drifter from IM8-Bit, which I cannot recommend this game enough. It's fantastic.
I keep hearing the name, but I don't know anything about it really.
It's kind of like a top-down, almost isometric view, and it's hack and slash. It's pixelated, like older pixelated graphic style. It's fantastic. The colors are great. The combat's good. And Horizon, same thing. Horizon Zero Dawn is amazing if you haven't played it yet.
Yeah, I haven't. No PS4
that's it.
here.
Where do you put all this stuff? I see you with all your pickups usually through the hangouts with Musty and stuff, but is it all just accumulated in your basement? Is that
No. I mean, here with this setup, my modern setup, it carries my PS4, PS3, 360.
So you're too deep there, right?
Down a little bit lower is Wii.
Deep?
Yeah, the Wii shelf here is 2 games deep, and so are all these in the cubbies. Those are all 2 games deep. Aside from that, I have a spare bedroom, which is my actual game room.
Oh, okay.
My retro.
And
yeah, it's actually half baby, half game room right now. Which we'll get into that a little later too.
For those DS game or DS cartridge, or sorry, DS cases, P2 had mentioned a while ago that he had a whole bunch and he was going to just throw them out. And I said, you might actually be interested. So if you are, contact him.
Why? Don't throw them.
Yeah.
Even if you just sell them, they're worth money on eBay.
Yeah.
Most cases.
There's a lot of eBay selling. I
$5.
said bundle them or contact Jason because he was looking for them.
Mm-hmm.
He always wants them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, especially because in the States, your EB game or your GameStop was throwing out cases or whatever.
Yeah, is it actually true that EB requires you guys to have cases?
I don't know if they require it, but they have them on most games. If they don't, they make a case for it, like just a fake little handwritten one, right?
Yeah, DS ones, they just throw them in sleeves, little disc sleeves.
They just put them on the shelf just like a normal game, right? Yeah.
Yeah. The only ones they still hold on to is 3DS, really.
I've never traded anything in there, so I don't know whether they pay less for stuff not in cases, but I suspect that you get less if you don't have a case for it.
Yeah. They do that with here in the States, the only thing they give you less for is if it's damaged to the point that it needs resurfacing or something.
Okay.
They'll give you a refurbishing fee, which is like $3 on a disc or something.
Right. Okay, well, so moving on to me. What have I picked up? The last thing I picked up a bunch of stuff, but it's all not really anything noteworthy. Kind of just padding to shelves for selling and Barry. Pick up the odd little chargers and stuff for DSs and Game Boy Advance and such. But the last kind of noteworthy thing was really I picked up a PS TV. I don't know if anyone cares about PlayStation TV anymore.
I have one.
But I grabbed one. I got the PS TV, 2 4-gig memory cards, a DualShock 3 controller, Persona 4 Golden loose, Little Big Planet loose, Assassin's Creed loose. All that was, why am I trying to think, $40? Of course, it's not showing us 40 here in my spreadsheet. No, $50. Yeah, $50. And that's from a guy that I know is a reseller. So, I mean, maybe not amazing price, but the controller and the games alone should cover that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll probably sell off the games. I already have Little Big Planet. I already have Assassin's Creed. Oh, no, I didn't have Little Big Planet, so I'm keeping that one. But I already had Assassin's Creed, and I have no interest in Persona. I was hoping my brother-in-law would actually want to play Persona, but he didn't seem interested. So I'll probably pass or sell that on. But the memory cards.
That's actually a series I want to get into.
Is it?
Yeah, I've never played them.
It's a loose game, but I've heard good things, and I've actually reached out to people to say, if you were to start Persona, which one would you start with? And everyone said Persona 4, and I assume Persona 4 Golden would be close enough as well. I don't know what the difference is, but yeah, I've heard good things.
I started Persona 4 Golden on Vita, and I couldn't get into it. The story was too heavy for me. My wife seemed to like it when she started it, but the story was just really thick and heavy for it, and there was very little gameplay in what I got into.
Gotcha.
But I also heard it takes a while to get going, and then once it does, it rolls like crazy.
I heard it was really calendar based, is what someone was just saying. Like, you may have to do this within the next 20 days or something like that, or the next 4 days, or every Thursday this person's available or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's similar to how Shenmue was, where everybody has their own schedules, and it's like a real world going on that you have to interact with.
Yeah, I would never play a game like that. I don't have time to devote to a game like that. I barely have time to play games as it is once a week. Yeah. Interesting, but yeah, not my cup of tea. Another thing I picked up was, I should have grabbed it, but I didn't. An Xbox One Elite controller. I got complete in box. Only problem with it is the one shoulder button's busted. And that seems to be a pretty common problem. But I got it for $60. I'm planning on repairing it and selling it at Barry.
Nice.
I don't think I'll use it because I don't play enough Xbox One to care about that. And when I do play Xbox One, I usually use keyboard and mouse adapters. So yeah, but I ordered from eBay. Hopefully they show up in time. 2 sets of bumpers for the controller to replace that for $3 each. So I got $6 into it plus the $60, and hopefully I can sell it for, 100 should be no problem. I think I've heard they're still going for 120, 125.
Is that what are they new up in Canada? Is it 150 or 140 or?
I swear it's 150. I looked it up, but I haven't looked it up recently. But I'll just do a double check now.
They retail for 100. I think 100 here, brand new, in the States.
Oh, 189 at Best Buy.
Wow. Or maybe they're 150 here then.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I could sell it for 150, that'd be awesome. But I have no problem with going lower because I'd rather it sell than not sell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as to answer the questions, yeah, that's the last thing I really bought. How did I find it? That was actually a Kijiji deal, and so was the PlayStation TV bundle. Kijiji, for anyone who doesn't know, is kind of like Craigslist, but only in Canada. It's actually owned by eBay, but did I get a good price? You tell me. What do you think? Am I keeping it? I'm keeping some of the PS TV stuff. I might actually keep the console. It depends. The bottom of it actually has like the plastic ripping, which is kind of annoying, but it still works fine. And then
the PS TV is interesting in that there are games that are whitelisted, is what they call it. So that it's mostly the ones that use touch control mechanics, like Touch by Katamari and Killzone. But
the problem is the games I want to play it. The games I want to play on it require touch. Like the games I play on Vita would be Katamari, and I just started playing Little Deviants with my son, and he was loving that. I did not realize how interesting that game's gameplay was.
I haven't jumped into that.
The first level is literally you hold the the PS Vita up, and the camera shows your real world, but with augmented reality, it overlays 3D characters, and you're basically shooting down enemies that are attacking the Little Deviants.
No
and you literally have to spin around in circles and get these guys. The second level was, if I remember correctly, I'm trying to remember if it was the second. It was either second or third. Anyway, you touch the back of the screen to lift the ground to roll a ball guy. And you have to roll him away from enemies into a key and then into the exit. So it definitely utilizes it a lot. And it was pretty neat. I'm curious how many more gimmicks they have like that. And it wasn't gimmicky for the gimmick's sake, it seemed. It was actually fun.
That actually sounds pretty cool. And I think I got to check my shelf. I think we already got it. It's really cheap here in the States too. I think it's like a $4 game.
Yeah, I picked it up for like $7 here, I think. And that's
nice.
Complete in box. I was like, I'll just grab it because I've been looking for it for a while. Wanted to try it out. Kept hearing it was good. I would have rather grab it loose, but whatever. Yeah, so moving on. Joe, anything you picked up recently? Keeping or selling?
Well, my issue is I tend to try to keep everything that I have, and thus I get into arguments with my wife. I've been on a bit of a slowdown because I know the Barry Game Exchange is coming up.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to save my money for something like that.
It's a good idea. I'm sure I can find things to sell you.
But you know, the odd time I'll still hit up a thrift store or whatever, and I don't have them in front of me, but I picked up Blades of Time for the 360, Tekken 6 for PS3, Hunted, the Demon's Forge for PS3, and then I grabbed this one because I didn't have one yet. It's Tetris Worlds and Star Wars: The Clone Wars, but they're both on one disc.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So I thought that was kind of goofy looking. And then I picked up this one today on the way home from work, Metal Slug 3
Nice.
for the
Nice.
Xbox.
I can't find any Metal Slugs for Xbox for a good price.
Well, this was $5.
Yeah, that's good.
So, and I've been playing a lot of it on the modded original Xbox that you made for me.
Yeah.
So loving that a lot. What else did I grab here? Grabbed, picked up 10 Nintendo Power magazines, but they're the later numbers, around 190 to 203 or something, and those were $1 each. I'm trying to get the earlier ones that I had as a kid but threw out.
Yeah.
So I was an idiot, and so I'm slowly getting those ones back. And I picked up 3 PS3 controllers for $10.
Nice. $10 for all 3 or each?
All 3.
Nice. Even each would have been all right.
Oh, I never would have done that.
Yeah.
For me, they're garbage. Like I wouldn't pay more than $5 each, if that, right? But I'm trying to actually stay away from disc-based games. I'm trying to find a lot of the cartridge ones that I've been missing and want to get, or even PS1. There's a bunch that I'd want to get as well. Like I sold my brother my Chrono Trigger. I did it as a trade for like Final Fantasy 3 and Mystic Quest.
Yeah, I think I remember you saying that somewhere, maybe on the podcast.
So I need to get that one back. I'm on the hunt for when it comes available. I know Jersey was talking about limited run games there, so I want to get the Wonder Boy, the Dragon's Quest, or what is it called again?
Dragon's Trap.
Yeah, Dragon's Trap, when that becomes available, hopefully soon.
Yeah, I'm going to jump on that myself.
Yeah, I saw RetroPixel and Mighty Q Dog talking about that too.
And that would be my first limited run game if I do get it.
They got a couple big releases coming up like that too. I think some stuff that was, big releases on console that's coming out on physical instead of just random indie.
Do you know anything off the top of your head, or just?
I'm trying to think of what the other big one was that everybody was anticipating. Oh, Night Trap.
Oh yeah, the FMV one, right?
Yep. They're releasing Night Trap again for PS4 and I think it's just PS4. With the 3 different cover arts.
Oh, that's the 25th anniversary one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
There's a couple other weird little things like that are big releases that people were looking for. I know Darius Burst was the most recent large release that sold out really quick, but there's a couple more big ones like that coming.
And that's pretty much it for pickups. Like I said, I'm just trying to save up for the game exchange, and
yeah, no, it's gonna be a big one.
I'm on the hunt for about 3 games, and if I get those 3, then I'm happy.
Are you keeping it quiet, or you want to share that? Let people watch it for you.
Well, for some reason, I keep on passing on picking up Lunar: The Second Story.
Okay.
So I got to grab that one, and I got to replace my Chrono Trigger, but that's neither here nor there. And the other 2, I'm just going to keep quiet for now.
No worries.
Nice.
All right. So on to the next thing. So I added a new section here. We're going to see how this works out. But I'm calling it Tip Corner. Kind of the idea is to share any ideas you have for buying or selling tips. Anything that people could do during a deal. Anything you can do to help a deal, or anything that people do during the deal that actually annoys you. So tips of things to do or not to do. This starts off with Joe. You got anything that people do? And I've heard you rant about things before with selling those Wiis.
Yeah, the Wiis are always a hassle. It's just the usual nonsense, though, where it's, you agree on a price and then you end up meeting up with the person. Like, I think I've only sold 3 Wiis this summer. And I think it was the second one that I sold. I had it up for 80. He agreed to buy at that price, and then when I got to him and met him, he goes, "Will you do 60 for it?" That kind of nonsense, right? And pulls out $60, and it's just like, no, thanks. And he tries to, all right, how about 70? That kind of nonsense. Yeah, those are just the usual complaints. Like if you agree upon a price, I deal with a guy who does Transformers, and I find it annoying, but it works. Not that I'd ever try and screw him or lowball him, but he'll constantly send out emails confirming time, date, location, and price of the meetup.
Interesting.
And he'll do it like, okay, when you first talk to him about the item and agree upon buying it, and then he'll do it like a couple days before, then he'll send you another email day before, and then day of.
Wow,
that's always
reconfirming
the prices. Like, all right, we're gonna meet here.
I can see a benefit to that, but I would want it to be written by me and like, you know, more personal than that.
Yeah.
And less often.
Well, he's not doing it rude. He's just, you know, obviously he's dealt with enough scumbags that have tried to lowball him or rip him off or not agree upon, you know, showing up a half hour or an hour late to a meetup, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we've all had our share of that, I'm sure.
Or showing up and going, "Oh, you said $60, not $80."
Yeah, that's
true.
What's
going on with that?
Like I just sold 2 days ago. I just sold 5 Xbox controllers. 2 were original and 3 were third party. But even when I met up with the guy, he initially had offered me $15 for them, and I said no way, right? And we agreed upon the final price. He took the box from me and gave me $15.
No.
Go, hold on, buddy. Hold on.
Yeah.
And then I had to pull up the email because he didn't believe me.
Of course.
Yep.
But I would just recommend sticking firm to your guns. And even if you don't really need to sell an item, I wouldn't even like drop your price for anything last minute. Hold on to it if you're not desperate for the cash. The worst thing you can get yourself into is a rush deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to regret it. That's good. I like it. Well, on to me. One thing I want to say is be kind to buyers and sellers. Just seriously, use proper sentences if you're using texting or especially email. I mean, texting, some people write shorthand to save on messages, but whatever. But use proper sentences. Say please and thank you. It'll show that you're civil, and it may make you a priority over other buyers or sellers that the person's talking to. I've had that before where someone's just said, you know what? I've had 10 people contact me, but you're the only one who said hello and thank you. So it's yours.
Talk to me like a person instead of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah. Or like one word answers and misspelling crap and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. No, that definitely goes a long way. Even at yard sales especially, I've gotten stuff where showing up and just being friendly. That, you know, I'll say, hey, you know, you got any video games? You know, would you happen to have any old video games lying around? And I'll get the, oh, you know, so and so. It's like 4 people asked before you got here, and then you just something in their tone or just the way you carry yourself, and they're like, oh, you know what? We do have a couple things we might be willing to get rid of, just because you're civil. You're talking to them like it's a friend of yours or another person, instead of just you show up for the deal and you don't care about anything else.
Yep. I've picked up that kind of tip too from CJR. He said the same kind of thing about garage sales, and you see it when he has the camera out.
Yeah, it's just being civil and talking to people like they're neighbors. You know, like that. Imagine that it's your neighbor. Every yard sale you go up to, you don't want to talk to them like they're just some guy you've met on the street. You talk to them like it's somebody you know. Yep. Goes a long way.
Out of curiosity, when you guys are meeting up with deals or buyers, do you try to stay away from pickups at your house and giving away like even personal information, like your cell phone, just so you can text with the people?
I have no problem doing it. I have done, like, I've sold 202 things on Kijiji for video game stuff, and every time someone comes to pick it up here, unless they ask me to go somewhere else or they pay me extra to deliver it.
Yep.
I've never had an issue with it being at my house. My wife's been worried once or twice, like, who is this guy? What's he doing? You know, he looks pretty grubby or whatever else. But there's never been an issue. And I've actually had repeat customers who are like, I've been here before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're usually more friendly with because they've been happy with me before. So I would say it's never been a bad thing, and if anything, it's maybe helped me.
Yeah, in my case, the area I live in is not too crime ridden, so I'm not usually worried about it. And in most cases, it kind of seems odd. Like when I'll set up a deal and I'll talk to somebody, I say, oh, you know, I'll come right to you. I'll come to your house, or you know, you can come to my house, blah blah. And they say, oh, you know, I want to meet at 7-Eleven or something like that. And it takes me off guard every once in a while, where I'm like, oh well, okay, yeah,
Am I that scary?
Yeah, I didn't think I was scary, but I get it. You don't know me, you know.
Yeah. No, I've had that happen before.
See, that's what I do. I always arrange deals, usually at the local Tim Hortons or something like that. Where
I just find it so inconvenient for me to go meet somewhere.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, you okay watching the kids? I'm gonna go. Yeah.
Plus half the time, like we were talking about before, like meeting up and making sure that somebody actually shows.
That's true.
Or isn't late. I would rather come right to you or have you come right to me. There's a lot less chance of that. I'm sitting in a parking lot of a supermarket for 45 minutes looking shady.
Yep. I had a story about that I can't remember anymore because it was several years ago when I was buying and selling paintball gear. And I really wish I could remember all the series of events of how it happened. But either way, I was waiting for the guy for over an hour, 40 minutes away from my house because he had agreed to meet. But it turned out he had sent the message saying tomorrow, the prior day, and it was delayed on his iPad.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Yep. But it was an interesting thing because I tracked him down on BBM and Facebook and found his brother and found his home phone number. And I was waiting in the parking lot.
The thing. You could have, if you had his address or he had yours, it may end up different. You could have gone right to his house and he may have been.
We never did the deal. I said, screw you, because he was making it too difficult.
That sucks.
Yeah. All right.
Joe, do you have that much concern in your area that you're worried about meeting up with people, or is it just?
No, my area is perfectly fine. I just don't want people to know what I have and where I live.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see that, having a collection.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know, I'll be the first to say my collection is far from impressive compared to a lot of other people's. I don't have any heavy hitters, you know, that are, you're talking 4 figures or anything like that. So it's not that I'm worried about that. I just don't want people to associate, oh, this guy has these video games here, you know.
Yep.
Maybe we can keep an eye on his house or something like that.
Oh, I totally understand.
Just a precaution, and also I don't want to have to subjugate my wife to, you know, strangers coming to the house and knocking on the doorbell like 7, 8 o'clock at night, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bad enough that she barely tolerates my my collecting hobbies. It's a fine line
there too.
I don't know. I guess I'm up for the tips. I really don't have a tip so much inside of deals, but it's more or less just a buying in general tip. I try to emphasize in the most case, especially if you're buying to resell or buying to fund your collection, is to think outside the box. Don't always buy when you go to a show or when you go to yard sales. Don't buy what you like. Buy for value. And it's hard for some people, I've noticed, to get out of the mindset of, oh, I don't care two craps about this game. You know, it's a crappy game, but it's worth $40. They don't think to buy that at the deal to resell it for something they want. They just see it's not the Zelda I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And it's hard to break that mold sometimes. But then again, on the opposite end of the spectrum, when you do finally break that mold and you start buying for value, you start buying much more than you typically would. And it amasses far more quickly in that manner. Joe, you know, I'm sure firsthand now, where you're going in and you're seeing something and you know it's worth money and you're just like, you know what, I got to pick this up. I can't turn down this deal. And it starts amassing quickly when you start doing that.
Yeah, my issue is it's, and I think you made a good point as well. People need to change their mindset. Part of the mindset is, though, people think that selling an item is a major hassle.
Yeah.
Like I've just recently this year sold my first item on eBay because part of it was I couldn't be bothered to even set up a transaction. So it's that mindset. If people can just, maybe do one or two sales and realize, then they'll start realizing like, okay, now I can start picking up these items to help compensate my collecting, where the stuff that I keep costs me nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, no, I've I've tried to go for value. When I'm buying something for value, though, I also try to make sure that it's worth. I go with 3 times what I'm buying it for, because I want one time to, I want double to make money, but I do the extra time now because I've found that I'm wrong, or I make a mistake, or it's not as good condition as I thought. So I make it 3 times now, because it's not worth my time if I might have screwed up, if it's only double my money. So I'm going for 3 times my money, or I'm not going to bother picking it up to sell.
Those Kijiji and Craigslist style deals, that you definitely have to do that, because you don't know what you're getting until you show up.
Yeah.
And then you make that hour trip, or the 2-hour trip, or 30-minute trip, and you get there and the discs are all scratched, and you're like, man, this is tough. And you don't want to turn it down because you made the trip, but sometimes you have to. But when I do yard sales or thrifting or cons where you can actually physically hold it and touch it, I'll usually shoot for double. That's my goal, is always double. If I can get something for 50% of value, I will scoop it up every time.
Gotcha. Yep. Yeah, and if you did find you were amassing too much stuff and you were having a hard time selling stuff off, then you could always dial that back and go for 3 times if you had to.
Yep.
Hey, Jersey, do you have yourself like a set, without getting into too much detail, a set spending budget that you do, or is it just you worry about that later? If you see an item that's worth the deal, then you'll buy it and worry about, covering the cost for it at a later point if you don't have the funds, kind of thing.
No, I hear you. If it's a bulk lot, like if it's, an NES with 30 games and I don't have the cash in my gaming money, I'll pull from my pocket, because I don't want to pass that deal with that. As hard as items are getting to find at this point, it's just so hard to come across those lots. You almost can't turn it down. Even if you're hurting for coin a little bit at that time, there's always, if the deal's right, you can't pass a deal. I could take that Nintendo lot, say it was $200 and it's $600 worth of stuff. I could probably go to my local retro shop that night and get $300 for it. Make $100 if it was that hard pressed. But typically, what I sell at conventions, I take that cash, and a portion of it goes to the wife and the bills, and another portion of it goes into my little piggy bank for my my gaming fundage. And so when I go to yard sales or when I go to conventions, I pull out of that cash. I try to keep the gaming money with the gaming money. But if it's a good enough deal, I can't pass up not pulling the money right out of my pocket if it happens to be the case.
But for resale, not for collecting, right? Not for your own collection. You'll still make sure you can cover what you're keeping with what you're selling.
Yeah, it's not always the case, because a lot of stuff, if it's something that I really want, or if I'm going to a show, a lot of times I'll buy stuff for myself out of my own coin. It depends on what it is. I've at this point started to limit myself on what I buy for myself. And I've mostly started buying for resale, because I have most of what I want for myself at this point. And I found, especially now with the baby here and actually having to move the collection for the first time since it's been amassed, that I don't need anymore. Like me, myself, I don't need anymore. So if I'm going to buy stuff now, it's going to be mostly for resale.
Gotcha.
And Derek, I remember when we had you on STC the first time, you had shown Bill and myself your gaming cabinet, and you said you basically just fund your games through what you sell, right? Like it's not.
Yeah, that was completely true. That was completely true up until a couple months ago. Then I started going in the hole, and I haven't been selling stuff enough. Partly we had a baby 6 months ago, so that doesn't help. But right now I'm $730 in the hole, but I'm amassing stuff to sell at Barry. So I'm hoping that that's going to cover it. I don't know for sure how much it's going to cover it, if at all, or if I'm going to sell anything at all. If it doesn't sell in Barry, then I'm going to end up selling it locally on Kijiji anyway, or on eBay, depends on what it is. But yeah, my intent and what I did for the first 2 years was always pay for the collection with the collection.
Right.
And I'm hoping that that'll continue. I mean, right now, technically, I have over $10,000 worth of stuff that I've paid $730 for.
Nice.
So that's where I'm at, but I want to get that $730 back.
Yeah.
And I have enough inventory, I think, to at least get several hundred, but I haven't added it all up yet. 2 weeks before Barry, I'm going through everything I have, pricing and inventorying, and put it all in a spreadsheet and figure out what I have. Yeah.
Nice. That's definitely the way to go. That was part of what we were talking. What's on the docket here is whether or not you keep spreadsheets for what you buy and what you sell.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm terrible with that. I don't keep spreadsheets. I don't have the time. I tried keeping spreadsheets, and I tried keeping the game tracking collection apps. And after crashes and missing a lot of deal, it just, I couldn't keep up with it. So what happens now is the show fundage when I do cons, because that's part of my selling tip, is to recommend that even random collector, take your stuff to a show. That's where people are going to pay a premium. The tables are usually cheap, and you may not be bringing the inventory that a guy that owns the store is bringing, but your table that you set up, you're going to sell a lot of it, especially if, since you have no overhead, this plays into my second tip, you don't have overhead. You don't pay for a brick and mortar.
Yeah.
You can undercut everybody at the show floor. If you're not greedy and you don't say, oh, you know what, I got to go for price charting because I know it's worth this. You know what you paid for it.
Yeah.
And you didn't pay 50%. You didn't pay 60 or 40%. You can undercut. Take out your eBay fees. Take out your shipping fees. So that's what, 13% right off the top?
Yep.
Undercut everybody at the show by 15%, and you will sell, and go home empty before anybody else on the floor sells that same stuff. Everybody will come to you and buy your stuff because it's cheaper.
So do you think like 15% below price charting is good, or what do you think is a good number to go with to sell? Because that's what I'm planning on doing.
That cuts your eBay costs out. Picture that you were selling on eBay, and eBay's going to take 10% and PayPal's going to take 3%. So automatically clip that 13% off and see if you're satisfied with the prices you're getting compared to what you paid.
I also just got an email from eBay recently that eBay in Canada is reorganizing or changing their ownership so that they'll now be a Canadian company. And that somehow means that they actually have to charge sales tax to the sellers.
That's terrible.
Into it even more.
We can't win, Derek? Jeez.
My days of eBay selling may have just ended.
That plays in here in the States for commercial purchases. So if it's an eBay store, like a physical store, like say Best Buy is selling on eBay, or Cabela's is selling on eBay, they'll often charge you sales tax on eBay if it's shipping from your state. Yes. So if you're buying an item that's their warehouses in New Jersey, they'll charge you sales tax.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But other than that, if it's in,
I think that's what's going to happen here now.
If it's in California and I'm buying it, I don't have to pay tax on it.
I'm not clear how it affects an individual, but I think they're saying it affects everybody from what I read in that email. I got to reread it before I post anything on eBay, and I have one of those Guitar Hero receivers I got to post on eBay because that's the best place to sell it. I'm not going to sell that at a show. People will offer me $1 for it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's an extra. What's your sales tax? 7%?
No, it's 15.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
On all your sales, it's 15%.
Everything. Even services are 15 now too.
Wow.
Yep.
They got to pay for your socialized medicine somehow, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah, here it's by state, and most states range anywhere from about 6 to 10%.
And then you've got a couple that are 0. on sales
Yeah,
tax.
yeah. Delaware, just south of me, the next state south is 0 sales
Yeah,
tax.
we went through New Hampshire was also 0.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here it's 7. Jersey it's 7.
Okay. Next section is story time. Does anybody have a story to tell? I wrote down some ideas for you guys, which is funny because I didn't write anything for myself. So you guys have anything? Jason, I'm first. Myself is first. Why do I do that to myself? I put myself first with no ideas. Oh man, why do I do that? Well, yeah, seriously, I have nothing. I'm too busy trying to make sure that show goes with no gaps. What am I doing?
Oh, that's actually, you know what? Because of the show, Derek, did you pick up a pricing gun?
A pricing gun?
Yeah.
Like a sticker printing gun? No, I haven't.
eBay.
That's a damn good idea.
There is a good one on eBay that you can pick up. It comes out of China. It's a red price. I can't remember the exact all listing and everything, but it's a red gun. It comes with 5 extra
China's
rolls of
be an issue
stickers.
In terms of shipping now, though, because I've only got till August.
No, to order it now. Then it's
not going to make it. Everything I order from China these days is 40 days.
It's Chinese. You can order it from a U.S. seller if you look around.
Oh. Yeah,
but
then U.S. seller, I'm going to get charged importing fees.
I'm telling you, it's worth it. For me,
I might check out a dollar store and see if I can find one in a dollar store.
It was the price gun with 3 extra rolls of ink, 5 extra rolls of stickers, and the whole shebang was $16.
Nice.
Shipped. So for you, it might be $30, and it's God, is it worth it?
So something related to that, but not the same, is I actually picked up a barcode scanner, USB barcode scanner, a while ago at a Goodwill for I think it was $3.
Huh.
And when I was planning on doing the last show, and I never did, I actually printed out barcodes to number every single item that I had to sell, and I was able to scan it, type in what it was, type in the amount I sold it for, and my spreadsheet would automatically print in what it is, and cool. I could add up totals and stuff. I really need to do that again this time, but I doubt I'm going to have time.
Yeah, my biggest savings has been a price gun. It has saved my ass so many times.
Because I will price everything, but what I've done in the past is I'll take like a printer label piece of paper, and then go into Word and write up a bunch of prices in that.
Yeah. Yeah, this thing it's so much easier. Plus, you can change prices on the fly. If you're sitting at a show and things aren't selling, you can click, change prices real quick.
Just putting a sticker over a sticker, people might realize the price has been dropped and buy it more likely because of that.
That's how I sold a couple high dollar NES games like that last year, where they were in the 100+ range, and I quick sticker changed it by $10 and they sold.
Well, especially when you know what the competition's selling for too.
That's right.
Interesting. All right. That's a good one. I should look into that. I wrote it down. All right. So Jason, do you have anything for you? I have written down if you want to talk about anything to do with your baby.
So the big story now is my son is just over a month old now. Just before he was born, we had the baby showers, of course, and everything started coming in. And I didn't know how big furniture was going to be when we got it. And I just automatically assumed, which made an ass out of me for sure, that his crib would fit in our bedroom. Because typically baby sleeps with you for the first year or so, 6 months to a year. Well, his crib didn't fit in the bedroom. So
we had a bassinet for my daughter, and she did not want to sleep in it for more than a month.
Yeah, I mean, the bassinet fits good in the bedroom, but the crib does not. So the crib had to go in the second bedroom, which is the game room. So it replaced the couch. It now takes the space of the couch. And the hope chest that was in there for the coffee table is now gone. And so it is literally half of a game room and half of a baby's nursery. So my storage room, which is about the size of a bedroom in this place, is unfinished. And so I am in the process now of emptying the storage room piece by piece, selling some stuff, yard selling some stuff, throwing stuff out to get it to a point where I can finish it. So I have to do insulation and drywall and everything, the whole shebang, carpet. And then at that point, the baby's room will be the baby's room, and the whole collection, I'm going to have to make new custom shelving, and everything will move to a new room in my house. But it's man, is it a task. And right now that unfinished room is unair conditioned. And with the 90-degree heat that we have every day, I can't even move the game room stuff back there for fear of it getting ruined from the heat.
Oh, man.
So it has to stay in the game room while I work on finishing that back room until I can get climate control in there. So it's been fun. That's why a lot of my my whole buying and everything has slowed dramatically, because there's no room at this point. That hurt big time. But that's my big story. I had a baby, and the baby took over my game room.
Yeah, that's okay. The baby will really like it when the games are in there and he's grown up and playing games, or like
That's right.
3 years old, or
Yep. Plus that room back there is a better choice for the game room because it is isolated more from the house proper. It is a little bit more man cave-ish. It's off to the back of the house. So
cool.
Now you said your game buying is obviously slowed down because of that. And how do you feel when you're not buying? Are you were you okay with not buying for, like, say, a week, 2 weeks, that kind of thing, or do you get the itch where you need to be looking and buying at least one thing, kind of thing?
I get the itch hard. What I'll do is I'm just much more selective on my buying. Like Derek said, where you can dial back that 2 times to 3 times. That's kind of where I'm sitting at now. Is if it's not a crazy deal. So I'll go to game stores and I'll try to catch them slipping on stuff. And I still do, but I don't, my margins have to be tremendously larger for me to pick something up. And like even with this whole GameStop trade-in thing, that me getting that trade credit helped because I emptied like 2 milk crates worth of stuff from the back room. And what I brought back in was enough to fit in my pocket almost, you know? But it is like it's almost an addiction. You're right, Joe. It's tough. That itch likes to be scratched. I can't turn down a deal. I love hunting deals, but I don't go yard sailing. I stopped yard sailing because I know it's going to bring in large quantities of things that I don't need.
At good prices, though. At good prices.
I know, the best prices.
Oh, man.
But yeah, I had to dial it back. I still have enough inventory for one more show this year, which is coming up in October. So that may, by that time I should have the game room all moved and transitioned and have room for stuff again. So, I'll unload some stuff at the show and then pick stuff up after that. It'll change back.
What's the smallest that you think you'd want your collection to be? Like, is there, like you were just showing us the games behind you, how you said some were double road and whatnot. How small could you go and feel satisfied with your gaming collection? Like,
if you walked into my game room now, there's a lot of bare shelves. It came to pass about a month and a half, probably 2 months ago, that I walked in and was just like, it's too much, can't play it all. Time to start purging. And I cut my PS2 from, I don't know, about 300 titles to about 30. I cut my Xbox from like 150 down to 20. GameCube was about the same thing, from like 100 down to 15. A lot of collections got smaller. Dreamcast got smaller.
Now, the games that you dropped them down to, did you go by personal enjoyment, or did price factor into that as well?
Mostly personal enjoyment. I found that I was holding on to games that everyone liked, as opposed to just games that I liked. And when I let go of that, I need every Mario Party because everybody loves Mario Party, I got rid of all of them but one. I have the first one, and that's it. Because I like playing the first one. All the rest of them I don't care about.
I'm looking at doing a purge like that too.
Yeah,
I'm never going to play Zelda for the SNES. Why do I have it?
Yeah, it's tough. The only thing I didn't get rid of was I focused hard on handheld right now, but handheld takes up very little space.
Yep.
And 16-bit. I can't bring myself to get rid of Genesis and Super Nintendo games. Every time I start pulling stuff off the shelf, I get the shaky hand and it goes back on the shelf. Just can't do it. But NES, I went from 450 NES titles down to 30.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because the attachment just isn't there.
Yeah. Is what everybody else likes, right?
Yeah, it was, I was holding on to just, I got to have all these NES carts because they're hard to find and everybody wants them now. Hell with it.
Yeah. If you're not going to play them or you're not going to enjoy even just looking at them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I ran out of shelf space. Literally, I physically ran out of shelf space. So I was like, got to start making holes. And when I started making holes, those holes got real big.
This stack up here keeps getting bigger and bigger. On top of the shelf, that's because they don't fit in the shelf. Yep, I need to make room.
Yeah, I just emptied out a bunch of 360 and PS3 stuff that I just wasn't. That's why there's empty space in here now, because it's just stuff I wasn't playing and didn't care about. I was holding on to it because, oh, that's a good game. Everybody says it's a good game, or I played it once and it was okay, but I never went back to it. Nah, hell with it.
Oh, Shadow of the Colossus there for PS3, and that's one I'm thinking I need to get rid of too. I played it once and I could not stand Shadow of the Colossus.
It's a good the value's holding pretty hard on that too, actually.
Yeah.
That's still like $18.
Will it go up when there's a remaster though? Or will it go down?
It'll probably stay the same. I couldn't imagine it changing too much.
Okay.
The PS2 ones are still they didn't go down much. I think Shadow of the Colossus is still 10 to 15 and Eco's about the same.
Yeah, I have a PS2 Shadow of the Colossus still too.
And how do you guys feel about these remastered games? Is it that same issue like back in the day when we had to upgrade our tape collection to CD, that kind of thing?
The way I look at it is, if you're not going to play it, don't buy it. But if you're going to play it again, sure, go ahead. But in my opinion, I haven't seen one yet that I have to have if I have the original game.
I bought Eco Shadow of the Colossus to get rid of my PS2 copies. Jack and Daxter, I never got into the collection on PS2, so I bought it on PS3 because it takes up one slot instead of
I do like that. I like it for games that I've never played. Like, I do have several of those collections, HD collections on PS3 and Xbox 360 because I never played them. My
honest opinion on them, Joe, is I'll take the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy as a prime example. I was never big into Crash Bandicoot. I'm not going to buy the new one, but it's sold out, and it is sold out everywhere here, at least in New Jersey. And it shows that not only did people care about it a lot, but it brought a whole new generation of players to a game that they in most cases wouldn't have been able to try otherwise.
Yeah.
Granted, the fidelity and the graphics are a little bit different. It's not what the old guys remember, but just bringing new people into it is kind of cool. I think there's too many remasters, and there's a lot of games that don't need to be. You really need to remaster God of War from PS3 to PS4, or The Last of Us. Really, I mean, that's a little bit much, but taking the old games and remastering them, like I would like to see Spyro, stuff like that. I think it would do really well. So I'm not against them. I'm just against flooding the market with ones that are still too new to begin with.
I think Spyro is a good example of something that would be good to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because those still hold their value. Several of them, not all of them, but several.
Yep.
I don't know if it's low print or just because it's good games. I'm not sure.
No, just good games, literally, because they printed tons of them.
Because the 360 one holds its value really well.
Oh yeah, the Dawn of the Dragon or Legend of Spyro, something or other. I have the Wii one down here.
Yeah. So moving on to the next person is Joe. Joe, you got anything you want to tell story wise? If you don't have an idea for you,
you have an idea for me?
Yeah, you want to talk about your backup consoles and backup for backups?
Not really, because it's a constant argument that I have to talk to my wife about.
She doesn't need to hear this.
Oh my god. Well,
I'm curious why. Or your thought process behind having a backup, especially a backup to a backup.
It's just OCD. It's strictly what it is. I've always been a collector, even as a kid, where I would, well, back then, basically the only thing I collected was books. So I'd be the guy when we're reading the book, you don't bend the spine of the book. That kind of thing, right? You keep everything mint. And then obviously that's progressed into the games, and I don't know. It's just, some of the systems, the laser will go on it or whatnot, or you find something at a good price. So Do I need 5 GameCubes? No, not really. Do I need 6 Xboxes? No, but the laser might go, kind of thing. Or the
You're
hard
just
drive
playing the
just might
modded one
crap.
anyway.
And I don't even play the bloody things. So
That's
my
the thing
wife-
I look at is if you're not playing them, the laser's not really going to go. But
Yeah. But when I play it in the future, I'll have a backup.
so then what I look at is the ability to repair them too, right? But then again,
Yeah.
I would do it myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
No, I've been selling. Unfortunately, the only thing I've sold lately is the 3 Wii's, but I still have like 4 hidden in my office somewhere.
Consoles are always the hardest to move, and a lot of it comes in bulk lots.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Joe. If you walk in my back room right now, there's actually a stack of 16 NESs, the toasters, just because it came in a bulk lot of a bulk lot of a bulk lot, and it's missing an AC
if I can get
adapter.
NESs here, I could sell them no problem. I think.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
They're not complete.
Depends
Some of
how
them don't
much.
have AC adapters. Some of them are a little too grungy to sell off. So a lot of this stuff I'm going to end up taking to a retro shop and just saying, here,
Yeah.
I'll turn it into trade credit.
One of my local retro shops has over 400 NESs sitting there,
Yep.
sitting there. He's got a wall built of them.
Yep.
In his storage room.
That's kind of what my storage room's turning into. I got 2 full shelf units of consoles. I've got 10 PS2s and 6 Dreamcasts, and they're the hardest thing to sell off at a show.
But then the price should just drop. If there's that many of them, drop the price.
Yeah, but it's just moving them on is tough. Games sell, consoles don't. That's just kind of the way it is, especially if you go to shows. I might sell, if I'm lucky, 1 of each console at a show.
It's crazy.
And that's even being lower. You'll walk and see everybody with $50 NESs. I'll shoot them at $40 at shows and still sell 1.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of times at shows, I won't even bring them because they take up so much space.
Yeah. Every console I've ever gotten and tried to sell has sold, but some of them, like an N64 specifically, I had to lower the price ridiculously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn all my systems, I think, into trade credit. Bring them to a retro shop, trade into trade credit, and pick up games that sell.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good idea.
I am in the process of getting rid of everything though, so it's
good.
It's to the point where I'm actually disgusted at looking at my shelves because.
Well, it's nice to make room for stuff you will actually use as opposed to a backup of a backup, right?
Well, not even just that. It's just, there's always stuff coming in. Like I just recently started collecting boxed PC games for some reason. I don't even have a PC to play them on. I just like the box artwork.
I have a couple, but they're games that I played.
I started collecting board games again for some reason. I don't need 5 battleships and like 3 Monopolies and all this shit that I don't have anybody to play them
Maybe
with.
you just need to not go to stores anymore.
But it's the nostalgia factor for me because I did play them as a kid. I love those games.
Yeah.
I have a board game closet too with about 150
I have a whole shelf
games
of board
in it.
games too. I don't have 150 games, but
So it's I literally need to have someone come in and declutter my collection for me because it's like Jersey said, he'll take a game off the shelf and his hand will start shaking, and I'll do the same with like even like some shitty Xbox game. Thinking, oh,
all right,
man, I might play this later on. I don't know.
STCPod purge video.
Yeah.
Let's see it. I'm sure Bill will start taking stuff off the shelf for you.
Or
He might start with that plain box mail order transformer, but
dude. Well, he wants me to do a table with him at the Barry Game Exchange.
Yeah, you should.
I kind of just want to enjoy myself though and just walk around.
All right, put your stuff at my table, and I'll take a cut.
Especially with everybody coming from the States and
Yeah.
West and East Coast Canada kind of thing, right?
I wish I could go. I really do.
Yeah.
Springtime. I'm going to shoot for springtime.
Why don't you just wait and see what everybody is going to do next year? If they want to come again and they have a good time,
Yeah.
set it up for like the fall show.
I have a feeling with that Cartridge Con idea, they're probably not all going to try to come again, though.
I would. The Cartridge Con, I'm definitely going to. I'm going to get a table. I'll have tables there for sure.
Yeah, we're planning on going to. All right. Not everybody that's listening might be part of the Cartridge Club, but they probably are. But just in case they're not, let's move on. Okay. So next thing is really, I can almost remove this section because we've kind of already covered it, but discussion and questions. How do you track your purchases? Jason, you already said you don't.
Nope.
It's all in your head.
Yep.
Your sales. No spreadsheets. You've said you've tried paper. No. Any statistics? How many games do you think you have? Do you have a number or not?
Last I checked, and this was before the Xbox, PS2, NES purge, so it's been a while. It's been probably 6 to 9 months. I was at 3,300, I think. So I got to be somewhere around 2,000 at this point. Probably 2 to 2,300.
All right. Okay, Joe, how do you currently track your purchases?
I track my purchases thanks to the spreadsheet that you gave me.
Cool.
So Excel
it's working
spreadsheet.
out well?
It's working out well. I was never a fan of Excel, so I need to perfect my column calculations for, totaling up everything or deducting sales from your purchase totals, that kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, I'm loving the spreadsheet that you gave me. It's great. Prior to that, I was just tracking my stuff on a Word document, which was pretty damn useless.
Yeah. It just sucks. It's easier. It's decent to search, but it doesn't total things up for you.
Yeah, no. So, yeah, thanks to you and Mighty Q Dog. Excel spreadsheet's the way to go. I highly recommend it. I was tracking stuff prior to even starting my game tracking with all my Transformers.
Yep.
Same thing, purchase date, whatnot, where you bought it from, what year, all that nonsense. But the one thing I can recommend, if you are keeping track of your items or planning on doing it, don't procrastinate in terms of adding them to your spreadsheet.
Yeah.
You'll forget what you bought, what you paid for it, and all that
I still suffer
nonsense.
from that.
I take, as soon as I buy something, I'll take a photo of it with my phone, and I won't delete that photo until I add it to the spreadsheet.
That's a good idea. That is a good idea. That's what killed me. That and lots. When I was picking up bulk lots, I was finding it hard to track what I paid to what I sold.
I love entering lots into my spreadsheet. I enjoy it.
I can't.
That's a soundbite I'm going to
break
take.
it even.
It depends on what it is. Like, let's say the PS TV bundle. I threw $20 for the system because that's like, let's say, half what it's worth, right?
Yep.
The SD card, the memory sticks, I put $10 for one of them. The other one I put for $2 because the guy actually didn't have it that day. He had to bring it to me another day. So I was like, okay, if he doesn't show up, I'll just put it as $2 and I can reallocate it later. He took off $5 and I paid him the $5 after. The controller I put as $10 because it's worth $10 and I had to do that with what he hadn't brought with him. And the game's $4 and $2 and $2. It's kind of like half what they're worth or something around there with at least the games. So I kind of just split it up according to what things are worth, kind of like a percentage multiplied by what I paid.
Okay. Yeah, I have the hardest time doing that. Like when I was buying stuff like an NES with 20 games for $50 or $60, it's hard to break it down by item, or when you go to sell it and what you keep, it's hard to break it down.
I picked up this lot for, where is it? $175. It was a N64 gold or a Jungle Green N64 with a bunch of games, and then Genesis games, CIB, and then NES games loose. I'm trying to figure out how many NES games there were. 19 NES games plus the console, controllers, random stuff, and I split that all up too.
Yeah, that's what I ended up getting frustrated with, and I just stopped. No more spreadsheets. I don't got time for it.
That actually included 2 NES systems. Jesus.
Wow, that's a good one.
Yeah, I worked on that girl for a while. Like, hey, have you decided you're gonna sell it yet? Or well, she had it listed for $400, I think it was, and I'm like, no, that's not. I'm not gonna do $400. I think she lowered it herself to like $300, and I'm like, okay, well, what's your bottom number? And she said 200. I'm like, I can do 175. And she said it actually turned out the reason they ended up selling it was The father was a collector. He had collected all this stuff. There was like 5 copies of Mario Duck Hunt. So he was definitely like a typical kind of collector, just bought lots or whatever. But he had the bunch of stuff he was going to pass on to his son, like within the next couple of years. Just, I'm done with this stuff. You can have it now. But then his son racked up a huge cell phone bill. And I had already made an offer to her saying, I'll buy it for $175 right now. I'll come get it. It was like 40 minutes away from me, or maybe 25, something like that. Anyway. And eventually, like 2 weeks later, she messaged me and said, you know what? The kid racked up a cell phone bill, and to punish him, the dad's going to sell it all.
Wow.
I'll take your offer. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Any idea how many games you got there, Joe?
Not as much as Jersey.
That's fine. I don't either.
It's, under 500.
Okay.
I'm a far shot from Dean, so.
Yeah.
Who
God bless
isn't?
that guy.
All right, let's move on to listener questions. We actually got some questions I tweeted out asking for anybody who has some questions with the hashtag DD answers. And we got some questions. Cartridge Bros P1 asks, if you pick up a game that isn't currently in your collection, how do you decide if you'll keep it or flip it? So let's just go on to, I should have put it in order here, but let's say Joe first. What do you do?
Well, I'd probably keep it if I one, if I didn't have it already, and two, I really enjoyed that game, playing it in the past, or heard that it's a really good game to play.
Yeah. How quickly do you play a game that you pick up like that?
It could take months.
Okay, that's fine. I am too. Especially if it's I heard it was good, right?
Yeah, I don't like to. I usually try to keep it down to 2 or 3 games on the go at once.
Yep.
Either main system plus a handheld or whatever, right? So there's too many games. I'm like a Polykill. I've got too many games on the backlog that I'll probably never get to for months and months on end, if that.
Yeah, I got games that I haven't played for 2 years now. So.
And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with if I know it's a good game, I'll just put it on my shelf, and I know I'll get to it eventually.
Yeah, storage space is my issue. That's all.
Yeah.
I try and keep myself to that shelf. So
I don't know in terms of flipping it, because
like, let's say it's a high dollar game, you're kind of interested in it.
I'd probably keep it, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Jason, what do you think?
Yeah, actually, it kind of, there's a lot of different factors that play into it, but prime example of that high dollar game, whether or not to keep it, was I came across for a good price Cannon Spike and the Adventures of Lomax on PS1, Cannon Spike on Dreamcast. And the way I look at it is, aside from storage space, they don't eat anything. I don't got to feed them. I don't got to pay a bill every month to have them. So throwing them on a shelf ain't going to kill me. If I play them, I play them. If I don't, they're there. And usually, like in a case like a show, I'll run through the game room real quick and I'll go, hey, is there anything that I picked up recently that I'm not playing? Oh, look at that Cannon Spike. Bam, that's a perfect showpiece. And I throw it down at the show. If it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, again, it's not eating anything.
Would you play it first before you put it on chopping block?
Some of them I do. Some of them I don't.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, some of them I just don't care about. Like some games like Cannon Spike, yeah, I played Cannon Spike quite a bit before I got rid of it. But Lomax, it moved so quick and it was in such high demand that I didn't even get a chance to play it in the time that I had. But that's the case for a lot of stuff. I got a lot of Wii games back here that are worth a bunch of money that I haven't played, but I picked them up because they were good deals, good cheap deals, and they're not eating anything. They sit on the shelf, and if I need to get rid of them, I'll get rid of them.
What about do you watch the prices? I know you do this more often, but do you watch the prices to see if it's on an upward or downward trend and maybe ditch it if it's dropping, or any news that might actually make it drop, like a remaster coming out or something like that?
I don't take news of remasters for much of anything because it doesn't change prices much. Earthbound's been reprinted a handful of times now, and the price is at $160. It hasn't moved much from where it was before.
Yeah,
It
so
didn't really take too much of a
what
hit.
about a box of them being found somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, even still, a lot of times it doesn't change prices. It seems that I watch trends a lot. I watch prices a lot. My bathroom reading, so to speak, is keeping up on price lists. And it just you see where things start moving and where things start plateauing and dropping, and it almost seems completely random at times. But if you go to shows as often as I do, if you frequent shows, you can see why prices do what they do. And it has little to do with remasters. It has more to do with influx of new collectors and outgoing collectors. That's pretty much it. That's really kind of what drives what's going on. If there's people to buy it, the price is going to go up because more people want it. If somebody on YouTube talks about it and there's enough people that don't have it, that they go and start buying it, the price goes up. It's just supply and demand.
Do you think that the generations, or let's say that kids younger than us, are going to start getting into what they used to play as kids, or is there something specific about the 8-bit and 16-bit areas that we played with, we learned with, that make us want to collect them again?
No, there's what it is disposable income is what makes it happen.
So let's say 5 years from now or whatever, the GameCube kids start coming up.
Yeah,
to disposable income. They're at that age.
They'll buy it. It all depends on how our technology moves forward from this point. We're at a point where playing all this stuff easily is just starting to become the norm. Like, you can have your retro pies, and your emulation 10 years ago was pretty crap. 10 years from now, it might be completely different, where all this stuff is perfect emulation and it's easy to play. But you saw the generational shift with Atari. All the guys that were big into Atari are now, I hate to say it, some of them are dying. Some of them are just getting out. Some of them are old and they're like, you know what? I don't want to deal with it anymore. And so Atari prices tanked and NES prices went up because that short period of time, that time difference was enough. That generational time difference was enough to move prices, and severely. And so NES went up, and now you're starting to see Super Nintendo and Genesis going up, and NES is starting to plateau. You're starting to see N64 games climbing up. PS1 games are starting to go up. And even some PS2 and Xbox games are finally starting to go up because that generational shift is starting to happen. Those kids that were growing up and at that pivotal age where we were playing Super Nintendo or NES as kids, they're GameCube and PS2 kids. They're finally starting to get to that point. They're hitting 20. They're hitting 21, 22, where they're starting to get a little bit of cash and they want to buy their childhood.
Yeah.
And so you're going to see those games start to go up. Yeah, you'll definitely see that influx in prices. That
seems like what everybody, like, general consensus is that it will. I was just curious if you agreed, because I know you follow it.
Absolutely.
Right. I didn't really answer that question, actually. When I pick up something, I pick it up based on value, typically, like I already said. If it's not in my collection and it's something I wanted or want to play or had as a kid but don't have anymore, that's usually when I'll keep it. Or if it's something I've heard is good, as we've said, or my type of game, then I'll usually pick it up and play it later. But even if all those things apply, but I picked it up for very little and it's worth a lot, I will sell it just to get the money, because I want to put that into something I want to play more. I've done it several times. Yeah. I don't think I've ever regretted one of those, but okay, moving on to the next question. Musty Hobbit. How long do you list things before cutting the price? And what's your approach to slicing prices? How much, etc.? Let's start with Jason.
If I'm selling on eBay, I will run a listing for 30 days. I always run buy it now. I never do auctions. If it doesn't sell after 30 days, that relist will get usually like a 10% price cut. So if it was $10, I'll knock it down to $9, or if it was $15, I might knock it down to $12.95, something like that. And if stuff doesn't sell still after, say, 60 to 90 days, I'll dramatically cut the price if I can afford to. If not, I will a lot of times take it and try to offer it to a game store for credit to turn it into something else. And then it shows prices go with price charting for the most part, and I cut lots of deals at shows. I cut tremendous deals at shows. If you're coming up and you're buying 3+ games, I'll knock sometimes 15 to 20% off the total price, because, like, again, I know what I paid for this stuff and I have no overhead. So,
Gotcha.
but show prices always, they're consistent. I don't usually cut from one show to the other. I go with whatever the prices are currently, and I'll knock money off at the show.
I meant to ask, what's a cheap table, or what do you get tables for at shows, by the way?
Most of the shows around me run about $80 to $85 a table.
Oh, okay. And that's like a 6 foot long table?
Usually 8 foot.
Okay. So I think ours here are 40 to 45 for a 6 foot table.
The difference is that you guys actually have swap meets, which I wish we had. We only have conventions. So
Gotcha.
They have guests that they have to pay for, and music acts show up and all that jazz.
Literally jazz.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I was just curious because you had mentioned cheap tables before, and I was curious what cheap was for you.
Yeah. If it costs $100, I don't really like paying that much for it.
Yeah, no, that would not. I couldn't even bring myself to pay 40. So, Joe, how long you cut before you cut a price, or what's your approach?
My rule of thumb is, if it's unless I'm really hard up for cash, I will, for the most part, generally just keep the price as is. As as I always say, you're always going to find the right buyer out there. You just got to show up. The only time I've ever sold on eBay was one item.
Yep.
It was that Wii game, 101 Sports, whatever it was.
Atlas game.
I had it listed for $159. It didn't sell after 14 days, so I dropped it to $149 and it sold.
Nice.
Not that I needed to drop it. I just kind of,
yep.
You know, I paid $3 for the thing, so I just didn't get rid of it.
Yep.
But anytime I list on Kijiji, no, I'll just leave it as is. And like I said, unless I'm desperate for cash, which thankfully hasn't happened yet, it'll just sit there and the right buyer will come along eventually.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, myself, I mean, I'm all over the board. It all depends on how I am with my money, whether my collecting money is up or down, or if the game is going to be easy to sell or not. Like, if I list it and I get like a bunch of messages for people offering lower, if it's a bunch of people, I'm not going to usually take the offer unless I listed it high. Now, when I list on Kijiji, I always assume I'm going to get an offer of at least $5 lower, no matter pretty much what I list it for. If I list it for $10, someone's going to offer $5 right away. So I usually price a little higher on Kijiji, expecting someone to offer lower. Sometimes I've done like the $8, expecting them to go to $5, whatever it is, like 38 instead of them, and then they'll offer 35, or I'll take 35, whatever it is. But I usually have no problem with dropping a decent amount as long as I got it for a good price. And like I said, I try to always get it for a good price. Yeah. But there's been times where I've overpaid. Right. Mighty Q Dog said, is it wrong to break up a complete game when trading it into a shop that gives the same price regardless of loose or complete?
Yeah. Oh, GameStop's a prime example here. They don't care about cases. So I never give them cases because I can sell the cases. I mean, that's just plain and simple. I mean, yeah, it sucks for the next guy grabbing it, but if they're not going to pay me any more for the case, and I can have a Pokemon Pearl case for DS, for example, I could throw that case on eBay for $10 and somebody's going to buy it. So why would I give it up for free?
Yep. I agree. That's what I think too. How much is, oh no, sorry. That's the wrong. Yeah. No, that's the wrong question. Yep. Joe, what do you think? Is anything wrong with it?
Nope, nothing wrong with breaking it up. If you're selling something, you want to try and maximize your profit on it. So you got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not like you're selling it to a friend or something like that. So you're breaking it up. You got no sentimental attachment to it. Who cares?
Do you guys think there's any time when it wouldn't be worth it for your time investment?
Yes. When I go to shows, I don't bring loose disc stuff at all. because it does not sell. Nobody wants it because the people that are going to shows are collectors like you and I, and they want everything to be perfect.
That's what I was thinking too.
I'll
what about
bring
cases?
stuff.
Would you bring empty cases to a show?
No, because it's space, and the value of that empty is not worth it. The only thing I'll bring sometimes is I might bring a box or a manual if it's a high dollar item. Like I carry last show I brought like a Worms Armageddon manual. I bought a Harvest Moon Super Nintendo manual because that stuff is $60, $100. You know.
Yeah. Okay. I was curious because I have a bunch of cases, a whole bunch of cases, but most of them are crap games. But the ones I was thinking of bringing were a Mario Kart Wii and a Mario Party 6 or 7. I think it's 6.
Throw them on eBay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here eBay sucks.
A friend of mine who sells, he's a vendor. He just set up at Too Many Games this year, and had a whole table of nothing but stuff like that. And he did sell a bunch of it, but he had to flat rate it. It was all $1 for this stuff, $3 for this stuff, $5 for this stuff.
Damn.
And he sold a lot of it, but he wasn't getting that Mario Party $8-10 for a case like you want.
Yeah. I was just worried also that it kind of confuses buyers too. Like they have to look at whether it's loose or whether it's incomplete or not, or just an empty case. Yeah. All right. Another question from P2, Cartridge Bros P2 on Twitter. Is there any game or gaming related item that you would ever consider buying from a scalper? I think he means like reseller type scalper. If it was the only way to get it. Is there any game or gaming related item you would consider buying? Joe?
Yeah, I'd say anything that I wanted. Isn't that the right answer? Doesn't matter who you buy it from.
Could be.
Again, it would probably depend on the price as well.
Yeah,
like,
let's say how much they went. Let's say it's a NES Classic and they wanted to sell it to you for double retail.
No.
And his name was Bill.
You've tried that already.
$5 off for each dinged corner.
No, it all comes down to price, really, for a factor like that. I'll buy it off of everyone.
So let's say if it was something you really wanted, but they had it higher than eBay or higher than price charting. That's
significantly higher. If it's significantly higher, then no, I wouldn't do it. If it was like, say, $10 higher, and it was just there in front of me and for my convenience, then yeah, it's $10, and if I really want it, I'll drop it on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Jason, what do you think? You already kind of said.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna. I don't buy retail. I don't even. It's hard to even get me to buy retail price stuff, let alone for more than retail.
Yeah, I'm more similar to that. I try not to buy anything retail. Now I do the odd time, especially if my gaming budget is high and I'm thinking this is something I really want. Like, what was it? Tank. I'm pretty sure I picked up close to. And I actually got a decent deal on that, but it was still fairly high compared to what I usually would do. Pretty sure I paid $25 for it off eBay.
Yeah.
All right. And so suggested content. You guys have any suggestions for the listeners to check out? YouTube channels or YouTube videos, podcast, anything like that? We'll start off with Joe.
I mainly listen to podcasts. So one that I've started this year was the Polykill podcast. I love those guys. And if I can suggest, if you're going to listen to them, I would actually watch them on the YouTube as opposed to just listening to the show. So youtube.com/Polykill podcast, or go to www.polykill.com. And for those that don't know about it, it's just two men, Travis and Jake. And according to them, they're at war with time and are numbered by their games. They undertake the quest of defeating their lengthy backlog. So, great show, great personality between those two guys. And another one,
funny. They're funny guys.
Yeah, great show.
Another one that I always like to watch, mainly for the information factor, and it's not just because you two guys are on here, but the hangout that Musty runs.
Yep.
You guys can go to youtube.com. It's under Musty Hobbit, for those that don't know it already. And there's a number of guys on there, part of the Cartridge Club. and just great depth of knowledge, way more than I could ever amass or even retain. And Jersey, I love listening to you on there because I'm amazed by just the facts and knowledge that you're always pulling out. So you're one of my favorite guys to listen on there. I love Musty, and anytime Eric is on, he's great as well.
I love having Eric on there. I appreciate that, Joe. I love having Eric on there. He is a wealth of knowledge as well.
Yeah, I agree. All of it. Okay, my recommendation. I'm going to recommend you check out Electronic Playground Network on YouTube. That's EPN.TV. The word spelled out DOT is their username. Or youtube.com/EP Network TV. It's Electric Playground, which was a Canadian TV show out of Vancouver, from like the glory days of SNES and stuff like that. And they did developer interviews all the time, and they got exclusive coverage of games and just tons of awesome stuff. And they have a huge back catalog. They've started putting some of it on YouTube from the old TV show, but also they do new shows on modern games and stuff, interviews with developers and stuff like that. They are currently at 27,000 subscribers, and I just saw a video they released today that said once they reach 30,000 subscribers, I believe they said they're going to put their entire back catalog from the TV show on their YouTube channel, which would be awesome. Yeah.
I wrote that down to check out for sure.
Cool. All right, Jason, here's your recommendation.
I got 5 YouTube channels and a podcast, basically. Podcast being STC, Joe, because it's the podcast I look forward to most every week. STCPod, Start to Continue podcast. Joe is one of the hosts and Bill is the other, and the banter between the two of them is fantastic. I can't recommend it highly enough. That's the one podcast I look forward to every week.
Oh, you're embarrassing me, but thanks very much. I still don't believe people when they say that, but
that's my day one. I'm not a day zero because I'm usually asleep, but I'm a day one listener every week for sure. That's my Friday ride to work. Aside from that, YouTube channels, one of them I'm wearing a shirt for, Rebel Gaming Club. They got about 500 subs. I ran into these guys at TMG. Fantastic. Bunch of guys from New Hampshire, and they do pickup videos, and they have kind of like a backyard wrestling vibe going on in their shows. It's hilarious. Great chemistry between the guys on the show.
Oh, I recognize that guy.
Yeah, Dan used to be a lead singer for River City Rebels punk band.
No, I've watched video game sellers before. This is the channel, maybe.
Yeah, they're good. NJRetro loves them too.
Sorry, anyway.
If you want to see the other side of the convention table, the seller side of convention tables, check out Scott Squatch.
Yeah.
Or video game sellers you could look up. He basically goes out yard sales and stuff, and he sells at a flea market and conventions.
In Florida, yeah.
In Florida, and his show's just fantastic, and he offers great deals, and he kind of teaches you how to buy and sell. He's very good at it.
Yep, that's good.
Game Dave. I absolutely love Game Dave's channel. He's part of RetroWare TV. He's out of Delaware, and his content, the production quality is fantastic, and his humor is just great. He's got a really, really good sense of humor. He does review videos of different games. He does what he calls the Fama Corner, where he'll highlight Famicom games that you normally don't hear about. And he has like an ongoing skit going on too, that runs behind his shows basically. Jimmy Hoppa is another one who does import gaming for the win. And he shows a lot of import games that you normally don't see anybody talk about. He highlights a lot of like Goemon games and stuff like that. And his reviews are just great. And last but not least is Super Derek. He's out on the West Coast. I think he's in Oregon. And he does strictly RPGs. That's what he does. And his reviews and retrospectives on RPGs are second to none. He puts a lot of work in. He completes everyone he plays. And production quality is fantastic. So, yeah.
He's a friend of Jared's. I know that. There.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just watched one of his Suikoden video reviews.
Yeah.
So it's going to make me want to buy one now.
I don't
his voice is sultry too. He's got that good kind of easy listening voice.
Yeah,
too.
he actually helped what's his name? the LJN Defender. He had problems with public speaking, and he said that Super Derek helped him out with all
Cygnus
that stuff.
Destroyer's awesome too.
Yeah.
Matt Ezra's fantastic. His channel's awesome.
Yeah, so he said Super Derek helped him with his ability to talk on a camera. It's pretty cool. All right, moving on. Next section, we got a Cartridge Club Game of the Month. So there are now 2 games of the month. There is the CC Prime, or the main game, which is Portal. And then there's the portable game, which is Tetris DS. Who's playing? So first I'm on the list. I am planning on playing Portal. I've beat that game before. It's not a long game. I don't have a lot of time to play the games usually, but that game should be no problem to beat, and I'm going to love every minute of it because I love that game. And I'm going to play it on PC. But the portable game is Tetris DS. I did play it a bit. I basically just launched it for the Beat My Score challenge because I wanted to see how I could do. And just like every other Beat My Score challenge, every time I do it, I do terrible, and everybody is better than me. So I gave up. I just don't have time to keep putting into it. Now I didn't realize you could hold a piece, like set it aside and bring it back. And apparently that can help a lot because it makes this piece also start from the top again. So you could just swap pieces and make them start at the top. But I don't think that's going to save me. I don't think that's going to get me as high as Fitnat and Dean. Yeah, Jason?
I don't own Portal, and I thought I owned Tetris DS, but I don't believe I do.
Own Portal, even in the orange box on 3?
No, I have Portal 2 sitting back here, but I don't have Portal 1.
That is a shame.
I hate my 360. I really do. I mean, I hate to admit that, but my 360 is not even hooked up. I hate that damn thing. But I don't really have any intention to play Portal. I've heard it's really good, and it seems like a game that I would enjoy, but it's just, I don't have the time for it.
It's on PS3 too.
Yeah, they have it on PS3. I might, maybe, I don't know. I'll see if I get around to it. But
I hate shooters on the controllers. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
At all. But Portal, I mean, you don't need to aim that often. I guess you do need to do quick spins and stuff, but it's just a great game.
I might try it on PS3.
So much personality.
It's and then Tetris DS, I really do want to play this month, but I don't think I have it, so I'm gonna have to go pick a copy up.
Yeah.
And it's expensive. It's like $20.
Yeah, it's not that easy to find and not cheap. I thought I had a copy, but apparently I don't, so I just emulated it for now. Well, yeah. All right, Joe.
I won't be playing either of them this month. Tetris DS I do have. I just I don't have the time for it, and I'm not big into just games where it's sort of getting like the high score.
I think that one actually has multiple modes, and there may be an actual, like, not story, but like, I can't remember. There was, when I fired it up, there were like 5 modes in a circle.
Well, you made the good point too. There's and I'll be the first to admit it as well. There's certainly people that are going to be way better at it than I am.
Yeah, for sure,
and,
for sure.
I'm not even going to try to get the high score with that.
There's got to be a story in there, or else they wouldn't have picked it as the game of the month either, right? They usually pick games with story or story mode. Or
Portal I don't have. I do enjoy the Val games. Like, I love the first Half-Life. But what I've seen from the Portal, my brain doesn't seem to work well with that sort of particular puzzle solving.
Interesting.
With that 3-dimensional style.
That's what I was saying, like spatial, like.
If it was physically in front of me and I could touch it,
yeah,
I could do that. But from what I've seen online, it doesn't. I just get more stressed and probably throw it.
You should watch gameplay just to get the story out of it. I'm betting someone's done a YouTube video where it's just the story of Portal, because it's just fun and entertaining.
Yeah, I heard GLaDOS is a great character.
Yeah,
like funny, and just the story behind it's pretty good.
Yeah, and the cube, everything's great. Yeah, awesome. So plugs, NJRetro, which is NJRetro on YouTube and NJRetro1 on Twitter.
Yep. Or you could find me at Jason Polo on Facebook if you want to talk to me on Facebook.
Cool. All right. Joe from STCPod, the podcast about nothing is what I wrote down here. He's also Transformers and Beer podcast as well. This guy does 2 podcasts and still has time to come on here. How?
Anything for you, man. Out of
And
respect.
hashtag I've got 2 kids.
Hashtag respect.
Yeah, if you want to follow me or get in touch with me, the best way to do it is probably through my Twitter account, which is @ACDecepticon. And then we've got the YouTube channel, Transformers and Beer, as well as Bill's going to get angry at me. The other one is STCPod as well.
Yeah,
Hilarious.
So I usually write those
pickup
down. I
videos.
forgot to write that down.
Hilarious pickup videos.
Yeah, I still chuckle at the dick jokes.
Oh,
I
sorry.
have to.
Our YouTube is youtube.com/start to continue, not STCPod.
Okay.
Anyway, that doesn't matter. Just follow me on Twitter.
Yeah, or search for Start to Continue or STC Pod or all of the above. All right, I'm Derek of Two Dorks. That's TWO Dorks on YouTube. And we are all members of the Cartridge Club, cartridgeclub.org. I say it is the greatest community of gamers on the internet. It brought us all together, and you can just go check out the forum there and interact with people. Most of us are also on Twitter. Thank you guys for being on. This was awesome. We're super long, I think, but
That's what she said.
worth it. An hour 45 or so, minus the part of us starting out. But
Good show.
thanks for being on, guys.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
All right, cha-ching.